I'm Daniel, 30 years old, and I've always been someone who valued trust above all in my relationships. I've spent my adult life building a career in interior design, living in a modest apartment in the city, and nurturing what I thought was a solid relationship with my fiancée, Nora. We'd been together for nearly 2 years, and I honestly thought we were on track for marriage. We had even started planning our wedding, a small, intimate affair with close friends and family. But in the months leading up to the wedding, something started to feel off. It was subtle at first. Nora, who had always been loving and affectionate, started pulling away. She began spending more time on her phone and frequently talked about her work projects or events that required her to travel. I had learned early on not to be a jealous partner, so I chalked it up to her busy career in corporate event planning. But there was this nagging feeling that wouldn't go away. One day, after a particularly tense argument about the wedding plans, I decided to check our joint bank account. We had been saving for the wedding, and I was hoping to see a substantial amount in the account for upcoming expenses. Instead, my heart dropped as I saw a $10,000 withdrawal. No notification, no warning. I was shocked. I tried to remain calm. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I had to know what was going on. Nora, I asked her later that evening, I noticed a big withdrawal from our account. Is everything okay? She barely looked up from her phone, a casual tone in her voice. Oh, yeah, I booked a last-minute trip for a wedding event I'm organizing, she said, as though it was nothing. A trip for a wedding event? What do you mean? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Relax, Daniel. It's nothing. Just a little getaway to coordinate some logistics, she waved it off. We'll make it back. No big deal. I wanted to protest. $10,000 was a huge chunk of money, especially when we were trying to save every penny for our own wedding. But instead, I kept my mouth shut. I trusted her. Or at least, I thought I did. That night, something told me to look closer. I wasn't proud of it, but I went through her phone. The moment I opened her messages, I felt my heart drop to my stomach. There it was, a trail of conversations, hotel bookings, flight tickets, and details of a work trip to Paris. But it wasn't just any trip. It was a vacation, a secret vacation with her ex-boyfriend, Alex. I sat there staring at the screen, my blood running cold. How long had they been planning this? Weeks? Months? I felt completely betrayed. The money wasn't the issue anymore, it was the lies, the deception, and the fact that she had been hiding this from me while we were supposed to be planning our future together. The next morning, I pretended like nothing was wrong. I kissed her goodbye as she left for her event, telling her to have fun. The moment she was out the door, I wasted no time. I logged into our bank account and froze it. I wasn't thinking clearly, but I wanted her to feel the same shock, the same betrayal that I had felt when I saw what she was doing behind my back. A few hours later, my phone buzzed. It was her. Daniel. What the hell did you do? She screamed through the phone as soon as I picked up. I leaned back in my chair, feeling strangely calm. What are you talking about? My card's been declined everywhere, she yelled. What did you do to the account? I froze it, I said, my voice steady. I figured that was the least I could do after finding out you're in Paris with Alex. There was a long silence. I could hear her breathing hard, as if she was trying to process everything. It's not what you think, she said, her voice faltering. Cut the crap, Nora. I read everything. The flights, the texts, the messages. You've been planning this with Alex for weeks. You lied to me, I said, my voice cold and sharp. I didn't want to hurt you, she stammered, still trying to salvage whatever was left of her excuse. I laughed bitterly. Oh, you didn't want to hurt me, so you planned a secret trip with your ex and used our money without telling me? That was your genius plan? She was silent for a moment, and then her tone shifted. She got defensive. Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with this stupid wedding and constantly stressing about money, I wouldn't have had to do this, she snapped. I was floored. She was actually blaming me. After everything she had done, she was trying to make it my fault. I don't get it, Nora, I said, struggling to keep my composure. Why couldn't you just talk to me? Why go behind my back with Alex? She sighed dramatically, clearly fed up. You don't understand. I needed space. I needed time to think. He's just a friend, okay? A friend? I said, my voice rising. That's why you had to lie about it, right? That's why you hid everything from me. Her words were weak, and I could feel her grasping at straws. We're done, I said firmly, cutting her off. What? You're breaking up with me over this? Her voice was panicked now. You lied, Nora. You spent our money on a vacation with your ex. What did you think was going to happen? I said, finally breaking. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. You've made your choices. Now deal with the consequences. Before she could say another word, I hung up. The days that followed were a blur. I packed up my things, moved out of the apartment, and erased her from my life. I even cancelled the wedding plans. I wasn't about to let her ruin everything I had worked so hard for. A few weeks later, I started hearing rumors. Nora had been telling people that I had abandoned her and left her without a penny. She was playing the victim, making herself out to be the one wronged. At first, I wanted to correct the record, but then I realized that those who mattered to me already knew the truth. So, I calmly told a few close friends what had really happened, the lies, the secret trip, and how I had caught her. Most of them understood, and some even apologized for not noticing the signs earlier. But there were still a few who believed her. That didn't bother me. I wasn't going to waste any more energy on her lies. What stung the most wasn't losing her, it was realizing that the person I thought I knew never really existed. She had been wearing a mask the entire time. But now, I could finally see things clearly. I've moved on since then, and I'm doing better than ever. I've learned a lot about myself and the importance of trust. People will show you who they are if you're willing to pay attention. And when they do, it's up to you to decide whether to walk away or stay. As for Nora, I don't know what happened to her. Last I heard, she was back to lying her way through life. But honestly, I don't care anymore. After everything was said and done, I felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I made the decision to go in a new direction in life, not because I didn't care for Nora anymore, but because I realized that I deserved to be loved and respected in the right way. Everything changed once I walked away from that mess. The first few days after leaving were tough. I spent long nights lying awake, wondering if I had made the right decision, questioning if I had lost something truly important in my life. Even though my friends told me I did the right thing, sometimes those what-ifs linger in the back of my mind. Then, one day, I ran into an old friend, Emily. She was someone I had been really close to in college, but we'd lost touch over the years. Now, here we were, sitting together in a cafe. It's really great to see you again, Emily said with a soft smile. You've changed a lot. I laughed, feeling a little awkward. Thanks. Actually, I can't say I'm feeling totally okay. There's been some stuff that's happened, and I'm still processing it. Emily nodded, understanding. I know you. You'll be fine. Sometimes the worst things happen so we can look back and figure out what really matters in life. I looked into her eyes, and there was something so sincere in her gaze. A strange sense of peace began to settle inside me. Maybe everything would be okay, and sometimes we need to hurt a little to grow. Time passed, and I started finding myself again. I focused on work, spent time with family and friends, and even started a few new projects I had always wanted to try but never had the courage for. Then, one fall afternoon, I received an unexpected phone call. It was Nora. "Daniel, can we talk for a minute?" Her voice sounded weak, unlike the confident woman I used to know. "I know you're angry, and I can't blame you. But I just want you to know. I was wrong. I know I can't fix what I did, but I just want to apologize. I know you won't forgive me, but I want you to know that I've learned my lesson." Silence filled the space. I didn't know how to react. Was I really ready to hear an apology from the woman who had betrayed me? Or did I still have feelings for her? Finally, I sighed. "Nora, you can change, but you can't change the past. What you did was unforgivable. I can't go back to you, but I hope you find peace." She was silent for a long moment, before softly replying. "I'm sorry. I really am. Goodbye." And that was the last time I ever heard from her. After that phone call, I felt lighter in a way I hadn't expected. The complicated feelings I had about Nora seemed to dissolve completely. I realized that not everyone deserves a second chance, especially when they've hurt you that deeply. Emily and I started spending more time together. At first, we were just reconnecting as old friends, but things slowly started to shift. Emily was someone I could trust, someone who made me feel loved and respected in the right way. She wasn't just someone who understood me, but someone who made me feel like I could be my true self. We began to learn more about each other, but we didn't rush things. I didn't want to make the same mistake I made with Nora. I wanted to be sure that if I was going to go any further, it was because of genuine feelings, not some fleeting emotional impulse. Gradually, I realized that life wasn't just about painful relationships. It could also bring opportunities for rebirth, to start anew, and to love again. 1 year later, Emily and I decided to take a trip together. It wasn't some extravagant vacation, but a chance for a fresh start. We explored a new city, enjoyed peaceful moments, and even started talking about our future plans. "What do you think about starting an interior design business together?" Emily asked, her eyes full of hope. I looked at her, feeling the connection we had built. "I think that's a brilliant idea." That was when I realized that no matter how painful the past had been, the present and the future still held opportunities for change. And this time, I wasn't facing betrayal or deceit. I was being loved the right way, and that was what mattered most. As time passed, I found myself more and more immersed in this new journey. Emily and I grew closer, and with each day, I became more certain that this was the path I was meant to walk. There were no more lies, no more secrets, just a partnership based on mutual trust and respect. And as for Nora, well, I didn't think about her much anymore. What I had learned from that whole mess was invaluable. You can't control what other people do, only how you respond. When someone shows you who they really are, you either accept it and stay, or you walk away. Staying in a toxic relationship only destroys you in the end. Sure, I was angry that I had wasted years of my life with her, but I was even angrier with myself for ignoring the signs. The truth was, the writing had been on the wall long before I found those texts. I just didn't want to see it. I kept telling myself that she was better than that she wouldn't hurt me, but I was wrong. People don't change just because you want them to, and sometimes, the only way to move forward is to cut them off completely. Now, as I look at the future ahead, I know that I'm on the right path. And this time, I'm not walking it alone. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think. Your feedback really helps me create better content for you. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. Thanks again and see you in the next video. Take care.